Alright, how's it going, everyone? My name is Anthony Ronconi. Today I'll be talking to everyone about the effects of video games on adolescents and younger kids. I will be discussing the different theories that have been proposed by researchers and their flaws, my experience personally with video games, and just for everyone to think deeper about video games and aggression and how it might have affected you in some sort of way. With that being said, for the past couple decades, there's been constant research being done on the aggressive behavior on younger kids and adolescents when it comes to violent video games. The first example I'm going to use, when I was in 8th grade, a couple of my friends and I, we were put in this class, and it was 10 students, all males, and we sat in a circle and we were greeted by a social worker who, she basically told us to go around the room and tell everyone why we think we're here. And she said none of us touched based on why we were there. And she said the reason why we were there is because we've been acting up in school. We've been aggressive towards teachers, disrupting class, making fun of peers, or whatever it is. And she blamed it all on the video games we played, like Call of Duty and GTA or whatever. So in the article, Problematic Digital Gaming Behavior in Relation to Adolescents and Young Adults, stated by Nico Manico, current studies have shown a negative relationship between video games and the aggressive nature that follows it. As someone who plays video games, I can obviously there's a relationship between the video games and the aggressive side that comes out of everyone. Another example I'm going to use, if anyone that plays on Xbox or PlayStation or whatever, we'll take Call of Duty for an example. When you go into a game chat or join a game, you always hear people. No one in the video game world cares. They will swear, they will cuss you out, they will racial slur, they will stereotype, anything. And if you're a younger person, an adolescent or a young teen, and we've all been there, when we're younger, we're all just, younger kids are just impressionable in general. They hear something and they'll just rephrase it, use it over and over again. And so when they hear these slurs or swear words or whatever, that's going to translate into, they say it either in their households or at school, or if they're in sports, extracurricular activities, etc. But these situations, they can provoke aggressive behavior, especially because video games are addicting for kids, as it's a hobby and a leisure activity. Even now, I don't really play video games or anything like that anymore, but sometimes I'll hop on with my friends, and we just have a good time. It's just a good way to just de-stress yourself, detach yourself from reality, just focus on this, have fun with your friends, play the game, whatever. But video games like Call of Duty or GTA 5, for example, when you see, for example, on this, you see 3 soldiers with guns. And anyone that knows about Call of Duty, it's a shooter, so you're going to be killing people and shooting other people. But on the other hand, the aggressive nature that comes out of people from playing video games, there isn't really a lot of evidence that really backs it up. There hasn't been a real definitive answer or clear answer on why or how violent video games affect the behavior of younger teens or adolescents. In the article, Association Between Video Games and Aggressive Behavior, Julian Hayden explains, smaller case studies have shown a negative correlation between video games and the behavior that follows with them. So all the smaller, they haven't really done any big case studies. It's all been smaller case studies, because you can't really do a big case study when it comes to something like this. And in the article too, she basically just says what I said. There hasn't been a definitive answer, no nothing to why adolescents or younger kids, or even now teenagers, why do they act the way they do because of violent video games. But as someone who grew up with 2 older brothers that still play video games, one being 21 and the other is 26, even though this speech is about adolescents and younger kids, but we were all younger and adolescents too, playing video games like Call of Duty, GTA, Rainbow Six Siege, Counter-Strike Go, anything like that. But specifically, I realized games like Call of Duty, they really bring out the aggression out of people. For example, my brother, my 21-year-old brother who plays Call of Duty, I could hear him sometimes screaming when I'm in my room, screaming swear words, like anything like that. He even broke his PlayStation controller one time out of anger. And when you play his games at a younger age and you start to have fun with it, and if you start to die or you start to eventually gain a competitive aspect with it, and the competitiveness, that brings out the aggression out of people. That's just the competitive nature of people. I realize that these games do spark aggression, as I just said. In the American Psychological Association article, important research has been conducted on the negative effects of gaming, including addiction, depression, and aggression. This was from Isabel Granick, who is a behavioral psychologist of Redbound University in the Netherlands. And I can definitely see how it's addicting, the aggression comes out, and even depression. If you lose a lot of times, you're obviously going to get sad about it or depressed about it. You're going to think you're not good. You're just going to be in the dumps about just playing that video game. But now we're going to talk about the theory about video game violence. The theory on video game violence is obvious. Video games have been theorized for years for the reasons on violent acts and tendencies within adolescents and younger teens, with killing people, drugs, prostitution, like GTA, any games like that. That just happens in video games. These video game companies know that's what people want. That's what brings in the most money. And as stated by Lisa Bowen, she said research that's been done, the theories, they're a myth from other media violence debates on the theoretical and empirical grounds. It is proven that this theory is debunked. I don't really act up or get aggressive when I play video games. Another example on the relevance of this theory, as stated by Peter Gray in a 2016 study, researchers analyzed that general social violence decreased in the weeks of popular video game releases. So when a new video game comes out, the violence just decreases for when the game comes out. People aren't going to be really into it as much. With that being said, I could say that the theory about video games and stereotypes are false. As someone who has been playing video games around 8 years old and up until now, I have not shown any violent tendencies when playing video games, like punching holes or whatever, or my family or anything like that. I can firmly say aggression from video games for me and my group of friends I play with today. It's not really aggressiveness, it's just the competing aspect of video games. I've been exposed to the same amount of violence from video games today as some younger kids or adolescents, if not way more. My question to you guys, as the audience, do you think that there is a truth to violent video game effects on kids, or is it more based on a scenario to scare parents or kids to not play violent video games or anything like that? Thank you.